Boom, we're live, everybody. It's a Thursday. Sign me up. Thirsty Thursday. I got a special cup. We'll all see what this means here shortly, if you don't know the news already, at least. We got a special guest with us today. We got Jay Dash from the XF Podcast. How you doing, brother?
Doing good. About to watch this press conference.
Dude, it's going to be good. I'm feeling DC's going to have a little pep in their step today, but hey, time will tell. We will see. Hopefully some folks join the chat, get some bants with us. But I figure, hey, you know, it's more fun with some extra people here. Maybe next time we'll get the webcams and all that good shit set up. But, you know, I've been following you on Twitter the last week at least. Well, longer than that. But over the last week with the demise or, you know, maybe smear of the AAF. So I figured it'd be interesting to have you on here to kind of get your input because it's been fun watching you drop the bombs on Twitter, I won't lie. You know what? I'm hearing we have some audio problems here. They're not hearing you, so I don't know what we did differently last time. So give me a sec here to see what I screwed up. I have a feeling it might be this. So let's give this a shot here. Oh boy, this is the fun with live stuff. So let's try this out. I wonder if it's going to let me do this well. We're live streaming, or did it just kick us off? Hey, say something now. Let's see if these folks can hear you.
Can you hear me, guys?
All right. Let's give them about a 20-second delay. Let us know if you heard them say, can you hear us, guys? Or can you hear me, guys? Come on, chat. Help us out. Yes, good. I think we're good now. Boom. Sign us up. Thank you, Bash Gaming. Good. All right. So we're good now. So, yeah, where we left off, the AAF. I'm sorry if you... I hate to ask you, but go ahead and say what you just said because I think that's a very important point here about the smear of the AAF allegedly coming from.
Yeah.
Go on.
Of course. Smearing and blaming it on the XFL. Okay, let's see. As you know, there's a lot of the AAF fans right now. And first off, I'm going to say this. I support the AAF. I want to see them succeed. But when you call out the XFL for being a smear, you completely just disowned a fan to me. And because when you say that the NBC Sports Network, Yahoo, Orlando Sentinel, Yahoo, I already said Yahoo, San Diego Chronicle are considered fake news while they're the ones who broke the news a couple of days ago, but yet you're just saying it's an XFL smear campaign. I don't understand why the XFL is the reason why you guys can't pay the bills, why you guys are having ratings drop, and why you guys are faking attendance numbers. It's not, this XFL doing that. People can see it on TV or live stream or whatever you call that thing on your website. There are a lot of empty seats. Reporting that there's 11,000 fans in Memphis. Come on. Maybe like 600 people. It's ridiculous. And coming after the XFL is pretty laughable in my opinion, because you just pretty much stated the fact that you've been denying for the last 6 months that the XFL is not your competitor. You don't care about the XFL, but yet we're on your minds. Just pretty much solidifies that your league was a rush league to counteract the XFL. So enjoy 2019 as it is, and when you guys fold at the end of the year, enjoy us run for a couple of years with a actual, TV network that gives us money and people who actually, how can I say this, pay good money to play quarterbacks or positions like $250,000 and paying your coaches worth money. Don't be saying that an owner from the NHL. If you people know what NHL is, it's hockey, no relation to football, to come in to save the day, but yet you say it's an XFL smear, but yet one of your high-profile coaches spilled the beans yesterday on the Orlando Sentinel, saying that, yeah, one of your investors bailed out in the last second. It's because that investor knew something was going on and got out of it. So keep saying the XFL smeared it all over. Stop blaming us. We only have one head coach, technically. We know 3 more, but it's not official yet.
Exactly. And I have on the screen right now a tweet from Spring Football 2, which shows the ratings from week 2, which I did see an article. I don't have the source on it right now. I wish I had it, but where they were trying to spin this as a positive. But other than TNT, right? I'd say, okay, a million viewers.
TNT is not a major network, by the way. Just saying that. Just saying.
Oh, exactly. And it's still a 0.6. What were they at? A 2 last week, right? The other ones, NFL
last week.
NFL Network, 0.26, 0.27. Dude, you're telling me after week 2 that these numbers aren't going to stay steady even here. They're going to drop even further. By the time we get to the last week of the season, these numbers are, I'm thinking 100,000 people on NFL Network, maybe 500,000 on TNT. Maybe. We'll see. The playoffs, that's their only chance to maybe have one last good run at the ratings because it's actually on network television. But you look at the XFL, it's almost been confirmed now. Oliver Luck in his interview yesterday in St. Louis mentioned they're going to have 2 games on network TV each week and 2 games on paid cable. And I'm assuming it's going to be ESPN and Fox Sports. I think it's all but confirmed at this point other than being in a press release, right? There's no way the XFL dips down to even these levels on their worst week. I don't see it, right? And this is only week 2 for the AAF. And real quick, just because people are asking, so I have Jay Dash from the XF podcast. Show your stuff, man. Where can they follow you on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff?
You can follow me on YouTube or at XF Podcast. You can follow my co-host at the Wrestling Movie Guy on YouTube. He does all the YouTube stuff, and we're slowly moving it to the actual page itself. We actually have a Patreon account as well at XF Podcast /Patreon. We're just asking donations. Everything's basically free unless you're an AA fan. You have to actually pay stuff to see what our opinions are, because we financially can't support us, and we need someone to bail us out. Hint, hint. But yes, we are a pro spring football league podcast. We talk about WWE, NFL, whatever. There are going to be dead times before the XFL, and we did that. So I like to get in the backlash of saying that I don't know my stuff when I actually have somebody that works with inside the facilities of a certain area. But I broke the news about the XFL playing in soccer stadiums a year ago. I broke the news that the XFL wanted to go to Orlando, but was forced out of Orlando because Orlando cut all ties with the XFL because they already had the AAF. So, yeah, believe what it were. I may not be NBC or Fox Sports 1 or CNN, but I broke the news and no one believed me, and those news actually became factual. So, yeah, you can follow us on Twitter and Patreon. The support would be cool. But we're strictly AAF and XFL, but morally, over the last couple of days, we've been anti-AAF, and because we are getting sick and tired of being accused of something that we don't do. So that's what I do.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. And it's always good to show your stuff. So at the same time, hey, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at XFL2KCom because somebody else has that name. And make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and hit that bell. Soon we're dropping new videos. Some are going to be pre-recorded and some are going to be live. Just like this one is youtube.com/XFL2K. We got the premium name there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's switch topics to the topic of the day. We have about 19 minutes until the press conference kicks off. So we're heading into DC. The word around the streets is it's going to be former Michigan Assistant Pep Hamilton, which has some interesting ties to Andrew Luck, Oliver Luck's son. He was quarterback coach, I believe, for the Colts when he came into the league. So it's interesting to see those kind of working relationships already taking fold into the XFL, which shows me that Vince McMahon at least did his research this time around to hire the right people, to make sure that the right people are put in places. Now, I guess one could say it is a bit of nepotism, but you know what? I'd rather have a bit of nepotism and have somebody with experience than end up with, Steve Spurrier or Mike Martz, who looks like he's about to have a heart attack on the side of the field. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Pep Hamilton coming over? I know Michigan fans are torn because I don't think a lot of them liked him. So hey, it helps them, and hopefully it helps DC. What do you think?
Well, it's early in the game, so if you want to let's put the AAS / positive glasses on. Pep Hamilton has a history of coaching San Francisco, Indianapolis Colts, Stanford Cardinals, Chicago Bears, New York Jets, Hartford, not Hartford, and Michigan last year. So he has a pedigree behind him. Yes, the coaches in the other league that started 2 months ago. I should, do reverse psychology right there. See that they're calling us the league from next year. They have experience. Spurrier has great experience. The guy who's accusing the XFL of everything, Neuheisel, bad. He's a good coach, but his record doesn't show that he's a good coach. But with the Pep Hamilton talk, it's something that I look at as like, well, it's not a big-time hire, but then again, you want a coach that it has experience dealing with other individuals. Hint, is there a chance that old Andrew Luck will eventually make his way into the XFL? Possibly, depending on if he doesn't get hurt in the NFL. But you got to find coaches / GMs. I think Pep Hamilton may not be the great head coach to be, or the guy to be the guy at Washington, but his experience, and I guarantee he knows a lot of stuff to do behind the scenes, like GM role. So you want to have a coach like Bob Stoops there, for that matter. He's a great all-around coach, and he know how to put his staff together. You just want to look for a coach that may not be a great coach right now, but you want to see a guy who can get some group of guys onto the roster or onto the team, onto his staff that can build a foundation in the DC area. And that's what the first step needs to be. Yeah, Pep Hamilton should be a great addition to the XFL Washington franchise. I like to call them the Washington Sentinels. Just because that's from the old freaking what's that old name movie? Replacement.
Yeah.
But it's a good step forward. I just want the coach that's going to be announced next week that supposedly we're not supposed to know about. That's the one I have a big question mark on. But Pep Hamilton right now, in my opinion, has the experience and background to make the next step to be a head coach / GM in the XFL.
Yeah, and speaking of the head coach that is allegedly coming next week, I'll tell you this: I bet you the DC fans are happy that they're getting Pep Hamilton. Mr. Zorn is not too well liked in the DC area, from what I understand. So, Pep Hamilton, it will be much preferred choice, I guess, to the local fans. And then even that, right? This is a great mix of coaches we're seeing, right? We're seeing a Bob Stoops come in, somebody that's established, somebody that, quite honestly, could get a job in the NFL, deciding to come to the XFL, whether it be for an easier schedule, he can be close to his family, and things like that. But we're also seeing this mix of, people like Pep Hamilton joining on board that, maybe want to try to prove themselves. Maybe it was something. Maybe it was a situation where, when he was coaching, when he was assistant in Michigan, he wasn't able to, make all the decisions he wanted to make, right? So maybe he can go to DC, show, hey, look, I'm a dude that knows what's going on. Not only can I coach, I can build an organization from the ground up. You mentioned that as well, and I think that's what's really awesome about this new XFL is we're going to see a good mix. We're not just going to see a retirement home. We're not going to see the WCW of football, if you will. You know what I mean? Or the Big Three League is, I guess, a better comparison. From basketball to football. The thing Ice Cube, right? Whatever the Ice guy, whatever basketball organization he's got going on with all the retired people. When Allen Iverson's moving from China back to the U.S., the league's got to be in some trouble.
The Ice guy. That's a good. So basically, you're saying the guy that they call the GOAT. Yeah, Michael Jordan. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
But you mean Ice Cube? Yeah, the Ice guy. Is he delivering bags of ice? Yeah, that's a good way to downgrade a very popular artist, sir. But okay.
All right, well, this is why I'm not a real broadcast journalist. This is why I just I create the bants on YouTube. It's the best place for me. I don't try to hide the fact that I'm probably a little bit autistic or something. I just like to talk about football and create some bants. You know what I mean? But you know what? Ice Cube is now going to be known as the Ice Guy, and everybody else around me is not going to know what the hell I'm talking about except for you.
And it depends on how many people you have on your YouTube. But yeah. That's the new nickname for Ice Cube, ladies and gentlemen, is the Ice Guy. So
Look out for that new album, Trays.
hashtag Ice Guy.
Trays and trays of ice coming to you. But yeah, let's get back to XFL. Sorry for that little side road there. So yeah, we got Pep Hamilton coming this week, and then according to Oliver Luck, it sounds like we're going to get a weekly announcement from here on out. And just a little theory to kind of go forward and even take a step back to the AAF. Quite honestly, I think they waited a week to make their second announcement because, you know, they talk about the XFL smeared them in the news. Quite honestly, I think the XFL knew that was going to hit the news. They didn't want that to get overshadowed. They wanted people to see, oh boy, the XFL's got, or the AAF rather, which again is a horrible name.
But here,
they should have went with the AFA. But go on.
Yeah, but that's what you brought up a good point. You, as XFL fans, if you know from the original 2001 XFL, and of course our leader Vince McMahon, you know damn well, excuse my language, if you accuse Vince McMahon of smearing you, Vince McMahon would have already been on Twitter, have already said something on some radio station somewhere saying that he didn't do it, basically saying, "Oh, I didn't do it," but that will actually identify that he did it. Have you heard anything that Vince McMahon has said since that news?
No, absolutely not. No.
The old Vince was already snitched on his ass. So when they say the XFL, excuse my language again, the XFL smeared the AAF, Vince hasn't said anything because Vince is like, okay, who's smearing the? Okay, this is that league that formed 2 weeks after I made the announcement from a son who did the documentary of the XFL. So he didn't just want to do a league. He saw that Daddy failed and wanted to prove Daddy wrong, but he forgot that Daddy wasn't the architect of the league. It was Vince. Mm-hmm. But yes, it's the XFL's fault, copycat. But anyways, back to what you were discussing.
No, exactly. Yeah. So I kind of got off track there because it is fun to just kind of laugh at the AAF fans going on. Yeah. And let me actually just focus on that. AAF does not roll off the tongue at all. Somebody was actually talking about this. I don't know if it was Colin Coward or somebody.
We got breaking news, by the way.
Oh, what do we got?
We got breaking news. XFL just tweeted out Pep Hamilton is the head coach of the general manager of XFL DC.
Well,
what breaking news was that? That's confirmed.
Yep.
And we've known it for what, a couple weeks now?
So, yeah.
Yeah, we don't know anything.
Yep. No, and that's the nice thing. You know, that's the cool thing about kind of, there's not too many people doing what we're doing, right? But it's easy to kind of find this news, sniff it out from these people, the different independent reporters or local sources and things like that. It's a fun time. It's the Wild West, right? I feel like I couldn't do this for the NFL. There's too many people doing this. Nobody would pay attention, right?
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean 5,000 free tickets were given away in Orlando 2 weeks ago? What do you mean?
Tell me more.
Oh, really? But I thought there was 20,000 tickets sold. No. We gave away tickets. Why? We wanted to make the stadium look halfway filled. So you're lying about your attendance numbers. Okay. So basically, sorry, I know that's a little off. I was just like how us being a small, podcast and you with your website. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something who I am. I work with a local university in my hometown. I have colleagues that work with the Apollos, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Miami Dolphins, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and a team so far out west, San Diego Padres. I make phone calls. They're all buddies. They all work together. When I talk to my buddy who, matter of fact, I did go to the the AAF game down in Orlando. Did go to it. I bought tickets for it. So I went to it. So I supported it. But my buddy said, should have called me. I would have gave you free tickets. They gave away 5,000 tickets. I'm like, what? So yeah, they gave away 5,000 tickets.
Now let me ask you. I
wasn't notified this. I'm like, what? They just did because they are lying about their attendance and making sure that the league is, being solid, but they are bleeding out very slowly. So next time you see AAF news, ladies and gentlemen, please listen to Imagine Dragons bleeding out. It just puts a nice symphony into a league that is falling apart.
See, I like that, and I also like, I posted this one on Twitter earlier. I don't know what the actual name of the song is, but it's that Tumbling Down meme song. Tumbling down, tumbling down, tumbling down. Yeah, because, quite honestly, they can say all they want about the attendance. You can see the pictures, right? There's not nearly close to. The only one that, to me at least looks like they're getting decent attendance is that Texas team. And it's in Texas, right?
Talking about San Antonio, and I know a lot of XFL fans may or may not agree with me. Well, I want to see what your listeners are saying on your chat. If the XFL is going to be what we think is going to be a more professional and more established league starting next year, maybe if the AAF does survive 1 year, I don't think they're going to survive a second year competing with the XFL because the XFL will actually have the money to get players. I won't mind the XFL buying out the Apollos and the Commanders, maybe Birmingham, because they already have they're not lying about their attendance. Definitely San Antonio's not. They put 30,000 fans in that stadium, so props to San Antonio. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I don't have any contact with San Antonio, so I can't confirm if any of those tickets were given away. But saying that 20,000 people were at freaking San Diego is a laughingstock, and saying 11,000 in Memphis is laughingstock. But Birmingham, that was a solid 20. Good job. Birmingham has been thriving for football. So if I was XFL, me personally, I'll go buy out and buy the Commanders, the Iron, and the Apollos. Yeah, the Apollos did kind of fabricate their attendance numbers, but you put the XFL brand on the Apollos, you'll get more people into the stands because the Rage were very successful there in Orlando. I went to the very first Rage and San Francisco Demon game in 2001. That was at least 35,000 plus. I still have vivid memories of that place being jam-packed for the areas of the stadium that were open.
Yeah. And I could quite honestly, I could see that maybe being the motivation for the Carolina Hurricanes owner to jump in. Maybe he saw an opportunity. He said, if I don't buy this, he knows that at the end of the year, Vince McMahon's going to scrape up, if anything, equipment from these dudes, right? They're going to have all sorts of crap, that they will
of course.
Need.
Like me and you mentioned before off air, and I'm going to tell it to the listeners here. There's one player, maybe two players that are currently not playing football that will destroy the AAF. And those two players are Tim Tebow and Colin Kaepernick. Yeah. If those two players decide to play for the XFL, the AAF should just close shop because that's it.
Well, especially, and I know a lot. It's a tricky one with Colin Kaepernick. It's a hard sell for some folks, but if you look at the big picture, right, that name value, that brand, the Nike deal, just controversy creates cash, right? Eric Bischoff said it, and it is absolutely true. If you have Colin Kaepernick in there and you have Tim Tebow in there, and let's just say your championship game ends up being those two teams, people are going to watch Tim Tebow versus Colin Kaepernick, and I don't care if you say you're not, you're a liar. You're just stubborn, or you're lying to yourself, because people will watch it out of curiosity. And quite honestly, I will give Colin Kaepernick the pass to kneel in that game just so we can have that great side-by-side picture of Tim Tebow kneeling and praying and Colin Kaepernick kneeling with his fist in the air, because that is a Sports Illustrated cover if there ever was one.
And you could say two opposites attract.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And if Vince McMahon, and if you do that, that means you're getting into the Nike money. And what happens if Nike sees that and sees the XFL is allowing that? They're going to ask for something to get some dibs in it and have Nike jerseys. If Nike comes on, that's one thing I've noticed about all these sports organizations. The leagues that are struggling don't have Nike contract deals. Mm-hmm. They have Adidas, they have New Balance, they have the lower grade ones, but it's a starter. But if you get what was it, Rydell and Nike to support your league, you're going to succeed, because Nike will not invest millions of dollars into a league that's only going to last a year. So if you get Colin Kaepernick with his contract already with Nike, with him associated with the XFL, you're opening up new ways of money, financial support, and of course, revenue sharing, something that the AAF thought they didn't need. So yeah, but anyways.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and I think you're absolutely right. Once we start seeing the players come on board, I've saw a lot of discussion on, well, where's the NFL going to, or not the NFL, where's the XFL going to get their players from? If the NFL has these guys, the AAF has these guys, money. That's all it is. There are people in the CFL, there are good players there. They're gone. They're not going to sign with the AAF. The AAF barely sticking around. They know Vince McMahon has money. They know that he's not going to fail the second time around. They know that he put $500 million in there. So he's at least got 3 to 5 years just based on that. And quite honestly, I could see this, let's say 3 years down the line, and we only got a couple minutes left here, but 3 years down the line, XFL is still around, attendance is growing each year. I can easily see Vince McMahon start selling off the teams as franchises. Let's say, up in Jerry's world, you have in Dallas, right? You tell me Jerry Jones doesn't see a packed house every night, he's going to be sniffing that money. Or the dude that actually owns, was it the Texas Ranger? I think he owns that stadium still. I believe. I don't know. But, I could see him jumping on board, too.
I don't think he owns a stadium. I think the city of Arlington now owns this stadium.
I see.
But, of course, what you make it a point, if it starts doing that, I guarantee you'll see the Dallas franchise hop ship from Global Life Park straight to Dallas Stadium or AT&T Stadium. So, yeah, it's not...
It'll be interesting times. Interesting times for sure.
No, Mark Cuban, stay out of the XFL. I know you brought that up. I forgot who it was. I just saw in your chat. Mark Cuban and Vince McMahon hate each other. I highly see that happening, by the way. And Vince McMahon and Jerry Jones love each other.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I think, is going to be another thing that helps. People forget, him running the WWE is a benefit. He knows everybody that runs a stadium in the country.
So let's suggest this. So the press conference is about to start here in a couple of minutes. Everyone go watch the press conference. And do you want to come back and continue with this? Because I know we can talk a lot more about it. But so we have the results to see what's going on, and we can continue after it if you want.
Let's do, so I can't do it right after the press conference just because I have a couple things scheduled. But what we can do, let me just pull up my schedule here. Oh, boy. So I'm good at 3:30 Eastern if you want to do something around then.
3:30 is, that's a perfect time for me.
Cool. So, yeah, everybody go watch the press conference. We'll be back 3:30 Eastern to kind of go over the results, see if there was any surprises. And until then, sign you up. And thanks for joining me. And follow him at XF Podcast on YouTube and Twitter. Sign everyone up.